Hello everybody. We're going to talk about angle conversions today and drawing angles in standard form with coterminal angles. Starting with angle conversions, we're going to discuss radian measure. So radian measure has something to do with circles and their circumference, and they involve pi. 360 degrees is a full circle and is equal to 2 pi radians. 180 degrees is a half circle and is equal to pi radians. So when we look at the conversion factors to change degrees into radians, we're going to multiply the degree by pi over 180. And then when we go from radians to degrees, we multiply the radian measure by the reciprocal of 180 over pi. So basically we want to make sure that pi is in our answer for radian measure, because again we're using the circle, and then we want to get rid of or simplify out the pi when we're going back into degrees. Let's try a couple. So we have 125 degrees. We're going to change that into radians. So we're going to put it over 1 and multiply by pi over 180. Cross reduce the 125 and the 180 by 5, and we get 25 here and 36 here. Then we can multiply across. 25 times pi is 25 pi. Over 180. Example 2. We can ignore the negative for right now, but we know that our degree measure is going to be negative after we do our conversion. And so we're going to multiply this by 180 over pi. So our pi cross reduce, and then 180 and 12 cross reduce to 15. So negative, there's 1 left here, negative 1 times 15 is negative 15 degrees. Example 3. Changing degrees into radians, so we'll put it over 1 and multiply by pi over 180. Again, we have the pi in our answer, which is what we want, and then we simplify the 135 and the 180, and that gives us 3 pi over 4. Let's try example 7. We're going to change these radians into degrees, so we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. Our pi's cross reduce. 3 simplifies 180 to 60. So you have negative 2 times 60 is negative 120 degrees. For credit tomorrow, let's have you do examples 4 and 5. Try those conversions. Now for the other part of our notes today, talking about angles and angle measurements. So angles are drawn counterclockwise if they have a positive measure, and then clockwise if they have a negative measure. We're always going to start right here where x is 0, and then again you're either going clockwise or counterclockwise depending on the angle measure. The terminal side is the spot where you stop drawing the angle, and the initial side is where we begin drawing our angle, which again is always going to be here on the x-axis for y equals 0. So drawing the angle with the given measure in standard position. Let's talk a little bit first. So this is our beginning. This is our initial side at 0 degrees. This is positive 240, and so we have 90, 180, 270, and then a full circle is 360. 240 degrees would come over here in between 180 and 270, maybe about right there. Again, we're estimating, and so putting the terminal side here is the first part of drawing our angle in standard position. And then this part is showing the person looking at it that it was a positive 240. The alternative, let's change to blue, was if I went this way, clockwise, that would be between negative 90 and negative 180, which maybe is about 120 degrees. So this is a different angle than this one. Let's try 500. So again, it's positive. We're going counterclockwise. We have 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. We know 500 is more than 360 degrees, so I know I'm going to go a full circle, but how much more of a full circle do I need to go? So let's subtract 360 from that, and we're left with 140 degrees extra. 140 degrees is here in between 90 and 180, so maybe it's right here for our terminal side. And then again, we need to show first that we're going counterclockwise, so it's a positive value. And then we need to show we're going a full 360 and then another 140 more to get to the 500 degrees. Example 3. It's negative 50, so we're going clockwise. So we have 0, negative 90, 180, negative 270. And so negative 50 is over here in quadrant 4, about right there for our terminal side. And then we draw this to show that we are going negative. Coterminal angles. These are angles that share the same terminal side. It's kind of like co-teachers share the teaching. Coterminal angles share a side. So if I draw positive 140 degrees, so 0, 90, 180, 270, 140 is about right here. And then again, the 500 that we drew before was 360 plus another 140 degrees after. So 0, 90, 180, 270 with our terminal side. And so both 140 and 500 shared a terminal side in the same spot because 500 was 140 more than 360, and then 140 is just 140. So coterminal angles can be found by adding or subtracting 360 degrees from the given angle measure. We're going to go ahead and practice, and just keep in mind that sometimes you have to add or subtract 360 more than once to get to the desired sign, meaning a positive or a negative value. So for negative 45 degrees, I'm going to start with adding 360 degrees. Negative 45 plus 360 is 315 degrees. So 315 degrees is a coterminal angle, positive, from negative 45. Negative 45 minus 360 degrees gives us negative 405 degrees. So negative 405 degrees is a negative coterminal angle of negative 45 degrees. Example 5. I'm going to start with adding 360 to negative 550. And when I do that, I get negative 190 degrees. So negative 190 degrees is a negative coterminal angle. Okay, well, I still haven't gotten to a positive yet. So I'm going to take that negative 190 and add another 360 to it to get positive 170 degrees. So negative 190 degrees and positive 170 degrees are both coterminal angles of negative 550 degrees. $395. I'm going to start with subtracting 360 from 395, which leaves us with 35 degrees. So positive 35 degrees is a positive coterminal angle of 395. I still haven't gotten to a negative yet, so I'm going to take that 35 and subtract 360 again, which gives us negative 325 degrees. So positive 35 degrees and negative 325 degrees are a positive and a negative coterminal angle. Quadrants. So a reminder, when we're looking at a coordinate grid, X, Y, our quadrants are labeled counterclockwise. So over here in the upper right-hand corner is quadrant 1. Then counterclockwise, we have quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So the directions for these last two examples are to first find the quadrant of the terminal side. Then find one positive and one negative coterminal angle. 65 degrees is positive. We are 0, 90. So 65 degrees would have a terminal side here in quadrant 1. 65 plus 360 gives us 425 degrees. 65 minus 360 gives us negative 295 degrees. So 65 degrees has a terminal side in quadrant 1 with coterminal angles at positive 425 degrees and negative 295 degrees. Example 8, 230. So 0, 90, 180, 270. Well, 230 is going to be here in between 180 and 270. This is quadrant 3. So the terminal side lies in quadrant 3. Now I'm going to take 230 plus 360, which gives me 590 degrees. And then 230 minus 360, which is negative 130 degrees. So 230 degrees has a terminal side in quadrant 3 with coterminal angles at 590 degrees and negative 130 degrees. This ends our notes for today. See you mañana.